Welcome to Warrior Rhythm, where hip-hop lioness make noise. In today's topic of I Observe, I will be discussing the similarities between two eras that had influential artists of their time and beyond, the native tongues and the new Negros, also known as the Harlem Renaissance. Of course, in Warrior Rhythm fashion, I will be highlighting the leading ladies of the native tongues, Queen Latifah and Monie Love. Both the native tongues and the Harlem Renaissance share a common ground of expressing Black American life and Afrocentric connections through their art. Let's get started. The Native Tongues was a New York City-based collection of hip-hop music artists coming together to collaborate and perform with each other in the late 1980s and early 1990s. The artists of Native Tongues spreads a positive and thought-provoking message in the music while expressing harsh reality within the Black community without going the direction of hardcore hip-hop. The Native Tongue sound was influenced by jazz, funk, and soul with an Afrocentric style. Hip-hop group member Africa Baby Bam of the Jungle Brothers introduced hip-hop groups De La Soul and A Tribe Called Quest to one another, which resulting in the birth of the Native Tongues. The member of the Native Tongues includes Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Monie Love, Queen Latifah, Black Sheep, and Shy Ali. The Native Tongues also had many collaborators such as leader of the New School, Mos Def, Common, and just to name a few. Ladies First is a record that everyone knows and loves to sing along to by the leading ladies of the Native Tongues, Queen Latifah and Monie Love. Monie Love is known for women empowerment and self-love within her rhymes. Queen Latifah is known for rapping about real issues, especially surrounding the Black community and Black women. Her songs such as UNITY and Just Another Day and many more. Just like artists Langston Hughes, who was a poet, and Meta Vox Warwick Fuller during the Harlem Renaissance, who was a sculptor. Hughes and Fuller used their art to portray the Black American experience using African themes. Queen Latifah, Monie Love, and the rest of Native Tongue crew used their art of music to portray the Black American experiences using African themes as well. Notice their style. The Harlem Renaissance was a movement filled with artistic expressions such as music, visual, and literary arts within the Black community from 1918 after World War I to the 1930s. This was one of the most powerful art movements in America's history. How the Harlem Renaissance became a movement? Well, in New York City in the 1880s, the neighborhood of Harlem was meant to be an upper-class white neighborhood, but due to rapid development, too many buildings were left empty, and desperate landlords were seeking to fill them. Philip Payton Jr. was an African-American real estate entrepreneur known as the father of Harlem. In 1903, he founded the Afro-American Realty Company. When the real estate market collapsed in 1904 and in 1905 in Harlem, Payton took the opportunity to buy and lease apartment buildings for cheap and then rent it out to Black families. His vision was to vanish housing discrimination against Black Americans. So, in the early 1900s, a few middle-class Black families from the neighborhood called San Juan Hill, aka Black Bulimia, aka the Jungle, was made of mostly African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, and Puerto Ricans, moved to Harlem. San Juan Hill neighborhood is now the home of the Lincoln Center. Remember, Harlem was meant for the upper-class whites, so a few white residents have fought to keep African Americans out of Harlem, but since they did not succeed with this mission, many whites started to move out. During this time, so many unjust, lawful issues arrived for the Black Americans, mainly in the South, especially deprived from Reconstruction era. African Americans were dealing with poor economic conditions due to racial discrimination, race massacres, Jim Crow laws, the Red Summer, and national disasters that put many black sharecroppers and workers out of work in the South. So after World War I, immigration with the United States fell. So Northern companies headed to the South to recruit black workers. This resulted in the first wave of the Great Migration from 1910 to 1940. By 1920, the population growth of Harlem has grown, leading to Harlem being the largest black community and to the great art movement, the Harlem Renaissance. The artists of the Harlem Renaissance includes Langston Hughes, Meta Vox Warwick Fuller, W.E.B. Du Bois, Zora Neale Hurston, Gwendolyn Bennett, Alan Locke, Countee Cullen, Marcus Garvey, Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Aaron Douglas, Duke Ellington, Josephine Baker, Billie Holiday, Cab Calloway, Fats Waller, James Van Der Zee, and Oscar Micheaux, and many more. The publication and organization of the Harlem Renaissance included the Crisis Magazine, National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, known as NAACP, National Urban League, The Messenger, and Fire Journal. Also, clubs like the Cotton Club, Savoy, and smaller venues were the party and the nightlife. I observed with my own eyes the native tongue and new Negro Black American life. New York City connect to artistic, Afrocentric, surrounded by the district. Africa Baby Bam introduced De La Soul, a Tribe Quest, birth of native tongue, that's a fact. Lady first, Queen Latifah and Monie Love, yes. Leighton Hughes, Mueller Fuller, show us what's the best. Harlem Renaissance artistic expression, music, visual, literary, what's the weapon? White neighbors and I'm with no parts of blacks. That's alright, Philip Payton Jr. had our backs. Father Harlem, no house discrimination. Spin around the block, bought them out, no hesitation. House is people, a prime example of a leader in this nation. From San Juan Hill to Harlem, from the south to Harlem. The great migration led to the art mecca, the land of promises, Harlem. I guess you could say the new Negro movement birthed the native tongues, that's a movement. I guess you could say the new Negro movement birthed the native tongues, that's a movement. I am Red Autumn of Warrior Rhythm. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment. And come back for some more Women of Hip Hop topics in history.